You ready to learn something? Here are 50 amazing facts to blow your mind. According to a study done by CareerBuilder in 2014, only 48% of Americans would quit working if they won the lottery. Of those who said they would keep working, 77% said that it would be because they would be bored if they didn't work. Of them, 76% said work gives them a sense of purpose and accomplishment, and of them, 42% said that they'd want financial security alongside from the lottery win. And of course, 23% said that they would just miss their coworkers. In Japan, a Daruma doll, also called a goal doll, is considered lucky. It's a handmade wishing doll that keeps you focused on your goals in 5 steps. Step 1 is you decide on a specific goal. Step 2 is you draw one on Daruma's blank eyes to signify your commitment and write down your goal on the heart painted on the back of the doll for extra commitment. Step 3 is you place Daruma somewhere that is visible in your home or office to remind you to focus on your goal. Step 4, once you've achieved your goal, draw in Daruma's other eye to say thank you. And step 5, write the goal you achieved on the back of the doll, if you didn't of course already in step 2. New goal, new Daruma doll, and repeat. The first cow to fly in an airplane was Elm Farm Ollie on February 18th, 1930. She was also the first cow to be milked while flying in an airplane. The stunt was done at the International Air Exposition in St. Louis, Missouri, which is the dairy state of Wisconsin. They honor Elm Farm Ollie every year on February 18th, otherwise known as Elm Farm Ollie Day, at the Dairy Festival in Mount Horeb, Wisconsin. According to the annual Healthy Hand Washing Survey done by the Bradley Corporation, an international manufacturer of commercial hand washing products, only 66% of Americans said that they always wash their hands after using a public washroom, and almost 70% of people admitted to skipping the soap. In 1972, Bhutan issued a set of 7 one-sided miniature stamps that are 33 1/3 RPM vinyl records that could be played on a standard turntable. You peeled off the backing paper and stuck them on an envelope or postcard. They played Bhutanese folk songs and histories of the country in English and the local language. In ancient Egypt, cinnamon was an ingredient in embalming and was used to preserve the dead. And somehow we ended up using it for the cinnamon challenge. Just evolution. Both sheep and rabbits are actually immune to the venom of the black widow spider. When sea cucumbers feel threatened, they can mutilate their own bodies as a defense mechanism. They can violently contract their muscles and jettison some of their internal organs out of their anus. The missing body parts are quickly regenerated, so not so much to worry. Bear cat urine actually smells like buttered popcorn because it has the same compound which is found in buttered popcorn that gives it its unique smell. One barrel of wine holds approximately 25 cases or 300 750 milliliter bottles of wine. In the 1940s, Pabst Blue Ribbon beer was the first beer ever to be sold in a 6-pack. Legendary martial artist Bruce Lee was also a champion ballroom dancer. In 1958, he entered and won the Hong Kong Cha-Cha dance contest. He would also trade dance lessons for martial arts lessons. The movie Gandhi holds the record for one of the largest casts ever. Over 300,000 people were used as extras in the funeral scene. Milk that has just been freshly milked from a cow is 37.8 degrees Celsius. That's crazy hot! According to Dr. R. Norman Hardin, a headache expert at the Northwestern University, 5 to 10% of people never experience headaches or face pain in their entire lifetime. In Norway, the maximum life sentence is only 21 years, with the exception of genocide and war crimes. It has one of the lowest recidivism rates in the world at 20%. In comparison, the US has one of the highest, with 76.6% of prisoners rearrested within 5 years. Martin Luther King Jr. was born with the name Michael. His father traveled to Germany and became inspired by the Protestant Reformation leader Martin Luther, and as a result, he changed his own name as well as his 5-year-old son. According to a study done by Stanford School of Medicine in 20 2014, the blood of young mice has the ability to restore the mental capacities in old mice. Old mice, when given infusions of blood plasmas from young mice, outperformed old mice who were given plasma from other old mice on spatial memory tests. In 2017, the movie La La Land broke a record by winning all 7 of its Golden Globe Award nominations that included Best Motion Picture, Musical or Comedy, Best Director, Best Screenplay, Best Score, and acting awards for its actors. Alpacas were domesticated by the Incas more than 6,000 years ago. They were raised for their fleece, and due to its quality, alpaca fiber was reserved exclusively for the elite and nobility. 35 meters of hair fiber is produced every day on the average adult scalp. Average adult. 90% of scalp hairs are growing and 10% are resting. Author of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Roald Dahl, invented more than 500 new words and character names. Oompa Loompas and Scrumdiddlyumptious are just a couple. The Oxford University Press even created the Roald Dahl Dictionary in 2016, which features almost 8,000 real and imaginary words which he loved to use. The world's fastest lawnmower, made by Norwegians in collaboration with Viking Gardening Company, can travel as fast as over 214 kilometers an hour. It has a 408 horsepower V8 engine and Formula 3 wheels. The average strawberry is covered in 200 seeds. The first Tim Hortons donut shop opened in Hamilton, Ontario in 1964. Coffee and donuts cost 10 cents each. The apple fritter and the Dutchie are 2 of the original donuts that were offered. Time magazine's first man of the year was Charles Lindbergh in 1927. He made the first solo non-stop flight across the Atlantic Ocean on May 20th to the 21st in 1927. Davy Crockett is better known as an adventurer, but he was also a US congressman. He was elected to Congress in 1827 and 1829 as a Democrat. The monarch butterfly has tiny scales, about 0.1 millimeters long, arranged like roof shingles on their wings to make them a little rough. They help to lift the butterfly more effectively than butterflies without scales. In fact, a group of aerospace engineers found that the scales boosted climbing efficiency between 16 to 82%. On January 2nd, 1902, State Assemblyman Francis G. Landon of Dutchess introduced a bill that would criminalize people who had too much to drink and were trying to flirt in a disorderly way to get women's attention. Offenders could actually be arrested and fined up to $500. On September 5th, 1698, Russian Tsar Peter the Great, in trying to impose a more Western way of living, enforced a beard tax on all Russian men because European men were usually clean-shaven. For centuries, Russian men had worn long flowing beards, and a lot of men considered it a sin to shave, so it was difficult for some to remove their beards. The tax was up to 100 rubles, which was a small fortune in those days. The tax affected mostly the upper classes. Peasants were allowed to wear beards in their villages, but if they were entering the city, they had to pay a 1 kopeck coin. Oh, I'll pay that fee, baby. Infamous Roman Emperor Caligula loved his horse so much that he had a marble stall in an ivory manger. In fact, he was going to appoint the horse to the high office of consul as an expression of his absolute power, but he was assassinated before he could do it. In London, England in 1858, they experienced something that is historically referred to as the Great Stink. So many people had dumped sewage into the Thames River that the smell was overwhelming. The smell was so bad that the curtains of the Commons were soaked in chloride and lime in an attempt to quell the smell for the MPs. Needless to say, a bill was rushed through Parliament in 18 days to provide more money to build a new sewer system for London. King Tutankhamen was not buried alone. The chamber also included 2 miniature coffins that contained 2 fetuses. Recent DNA suggests that one of the mummies is his stillborn daughter, and the other was likely his child also. Experts believe that King Tut left no living heirs. Bullfrogs periodically shed their skin at regular intervals as they grow. The old skin is then pushed off with their hind legs and eaten by the bullfrog. The month of July is named in honor of Roman dictator Julius Caesar. He helped develop the Julian calendar, the precursor to the Gregorian calendar that we use today. The snapping shrimp can regenerate its snapping claw. If they lose the snapping claw, the missing claw regenerates as a smaller claw, and the original smaller claw grows to become the new snapping claw. It is possible for a dead person to get goosebumps, although they aren't triggered the same way as a living person. It can happen when rigor mortis sets in, which is when the muscles contract and cause the body to stiffen up. There are tiny muscles beneath our hair follicles which also contract, which causes the hair to stand on end and makes it appear to have goosebumps. In the early 20th century, you could order a kit to build a house from the Sears catalog. Some of the examples offered are small bungalows, large farmhouses, and Queen Anne style homes, and they were all delivered by train. All the parts and materials were included in the kit. You literally just had to put it together. Gun silencers don't actually silence a gun. Gunshots are so loud because really hot gases expand quickly and create shock waves when they leave the chamber of the gun. Silencers contain a series of expansion chambers that cool and dissipate the gases before they leave the barrel of the gun. They work a lot like the muffler on your car. During the First World War, soldiers used camouflage trees to conceal observation posts on the battleground. Actual battle-damaged trees were sketched by a camouflage artist in the battlefield. They were made behind lines by cutting down a real tree at night and replacing a battle-worn tree with the replica. This provided a surveillance point or observation point where there is usually a flat exposed area like in no man's land. Someone who studies and collects information about flags is called a vexillologist. The last thing on a list is called the ultimate. The second last is called penultimate, and the third to last is called an anti-penultimate. At the time of World War II, the US penny was composed of 95% copper and 5% zinc. Those metals were unavailable during the war, so it was then made of zinc-coated steel. After many revisions to the composition, the final change was made in 1982 when it was changed to 97.6% zinc and 2.4% copper. This is still used today. The Beatles' final live concert was held on August 29, 1966 at Candlestick Park in San Francisco, California. The park's capacity was 42,500, but only 25,000 tickets were sold. Fans paid between $4.50 and $6.50 for tickets. In a theater, it is commonly believed that peacocks or peacock feathers bring bad luck to actors. Veteran actors have tales of sets collapsing and forgetting their lines when a peacock feather was on stage. It stems from the fact that the blue and green design resembles an evil eye. Ebenezer Place in Wick, Scotland is the world's shortest street at only 2.05 meters long. You're looking at a ball of mud. Hikaru Dorodango are balls of mud molded by hand into perfect spheres, dried and polished into a shiny luster. It's a traditional pastime among children in Japan. According to a new research published in the Journal of Neurolinguistics from a study done by researchers from the University de Montreal, bilingual brains are more efficient and may be able to stave off symptoms of aging and dementia better than people who aren't bilingual. Brown eyes are the most common eye color in the world. Over 55% of people have brown eyes, and nearly all people from Africa and Asia have brown eyes. Norway was the first nation to start switching off its FM radio network and taking the risky leap to digital technology. And that's all for this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. On the right, you'll find 2 of my most recent videos that you can press a click on your screen right now if you feel like watching some more. And other than that, I'll see you in the next video. Bye! Slap, slap, knowledge whale.